you just,
Oh,
thank you.
so I'm here not as an employee, just as a taxpayer, family. Uh, Taylor Parks, we've been putting Band-Aids on Taylor Parks for years. Last year, the money came through. We put in playgrounds at these schools. Well, yeah, that was nice. It floods every time it rains. They can't use the playground half the time. Um, and I understand it's the oldest building in the
Yes.
district, and it's not ADA compliant. I knew that when my children went there. We had issues with children who went to school there with my children. When we demolish these schools, what are we gonna do with that property? Is it gonna sit like Monroe School and become just an empty lot? Because then can't we use that for something else and make some tax money out of it, you know? I don't know. I mean, I'm just asking. When I saw these plans, I was a little, what about these elementary schools? Why don't we put sixth grade back in elementary school instead of doing a sixth grade academy? My grandson went to sixth grade academy here at Brake the first year they did it. It was not a good experience. Um, it was a nightmare parking. It was a nightmare picking up. Um, it was not a great experience for him. And so therefore that bled into the family. Like I said, I'm here just as a taxpayer. Those are my concerns. I really feel for the Johnson people. So that was that. Let's see. The property, what's it gonna do to my property value when I no longer have a neighborhood school? And where are the kids from Taylor Park? I didn't see that. I mean, I did see it, but I can't remember. Where are they going to go to school?
So, with the kids from Taylor Parks, they would be going to what is currently Hoover, because that's going to become Randall Elementary, and then they would also go to Moody. So some would be going to Moody, the others to.
So specifically, the neighborhood you're talking about right
Are
by
gonna go
Taylor
to
Parks
Moody.
would be Blair Moody Elementary. Yes.
And the other piece I wanted to say, like, because you mentioned like Monroe School and some of these plots of land that we do own. So over the course of time, it depended on how we either came into possession of the property or how we demolished the buildings were there that have dictated how we've used them. So, for example, like Waring Elementary, which is one of the ones we still own and we lease out, that's still in our possession because there's deed restrictions in that property that state it has to be used for a park or a school. So it's something we've held on to and it's been in our possession. A place like Monroe Elementary, we used grant funding from the Department of Housing and Urban Development to do that demolition. As part of that, using that grant money, we are tied to certain items and how we can actually sell it and who we can sell it to. So those kind of properties we end up in our possession and they've stayed the way they are because we're restricted by different ways that we did that.
And just
These
as a one
properties-
person, that's good to know that's
Yeah,
why
absolutely.
that's happening.
Yeah. As for Taylor Parks, because we're talking about using bond money to do that, we wouldn't have that restriction on what we do with the property at that point. So it would be something we would be looking to sell, whether it's for developing houses, whether it's something the city might be interested in for the park. Like, we'd be open to whatever we can for that
And
development.
would that go to the population for a review before that was decided on? Was that something that you guys would decide on without us ever having input?
So any sale of land would have to come to a board meeting. Yes. It'd have to be done in the public setting.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't go to a vote or anything like to
Yeah.
I mean, it would come here, but it wouldn't
Yes.
go like out on an
No,
election.
No, it would be a vote
Like I
of the
said, I
board.
don't know anything about
Yeah.
this stuff. I'm just kind of getting my feet wet.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out. My kids went to Taylor schools. My grandkids, I have grandkids coming up
Yeah.
who just moved back into Taylor, who will go to Taylor schools in a couple years. And so I'm invested in this on that aspect of it. What about, did you talk about sixth grade going back to elementary school? Was that something that was considered at all?
So when we're looking at the utilization, that would be a difficult item to do as we're looking at, best using the buildings as they are, so, and that would be something that most districts do not have that model currently.
Some have gone back to it.
Well, some, in a lot of them, they're doing like the 5th, 6th, and then the 7th, 8th, or they're getting creative in those kind of items, but, it's still a common practice that the 6th grade is in with the 7th and 8th. And some of that is, you know, educational research shows that when you are transitioning kids multiple times, then you start to have more issues and you have to build more interventions in place to make those transitions successful. So the idea is they're still going to be part of that complex with the 7th and 8th graders. And yeah, as I say, there's a little bit of a transition there, but the idea is it's lessening those amounts by doing it.
I know my daughter teaches in Redwood, and
Yeah.
they've gone back to 6th graders at elementary and 9th graders back in junior high school.
Oh, they moved to 9th grade.
It's not middle school
Yeah.
anymore. They've gone back to the junior
Yeah.
high school setting for them. And I know when I was a parent and my kids moved up, I had girls who were going, 12-year-old girls who were going to school with 15-year-old boys, and then I had 14-year-old daughters who were going to school with 18-year-old boys, and I wasn't happy about that situation. So it was just something to think
Yeah.
about to put those kids back.
Yeah, I just want to note the time has expired. We do
Okay.
want to give the people behind you the
that's fine.
opportunity, so I do
Okay.
want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rhonda Danai, 127-260 Robert Street, Taylor. And as you know, I'm a resident here, former student, parent, board member, and teacher. And I taught at a lot of these elementary schools. As a matter of fact, I taught at Johnson when it became a preschool. And when I first started teaching here, we didn't have a preschool program. And I think it's a gem that our district offers. And I really like what you had to say about what it offered for your child in particular. So I know that this board recognizes the value of the preschool, and even what you said is you're kind of bursting at the seams now. So an opportunity to go to another building and perhaps have expansion, I think might really be a good thing for your program.
I just want to
Well,
add
yeah, yes.
needs to stay between the board and
Right, yes. So I just wanted to comment, like, when we moved, there were 2 elementary schools there. There were never any problems that I was aware of. It was to move for the necessity to create a place for the preschool program because it had operated in different buildings over the course of the time. Also, the 6th grade academy was an asset to the district. It was a very strong thing, and I know that it left because of for financial need, but parents and staff were very happy to have that program. So to me, it's kind of exciting to bring it back and to still kind of insulate those kids, but give them an opportunity to have some transition time too. And then I know that there are a lot of really hard changes, but I look at what the alternative is. And I was part of the district when we all took a pay cut, and I never recouped it. And I would hate to see our district go into receivership like Inkster did, or the difficulties that Wayne Westland is having, and to have to lay off staff. And I really think it's a wonderful opportunity for a classroom to be capped at 28. That's below contract size, except for kindergarten, which is 28. And then your vision statement is to be the innovative destination district where all succeed. And even though these changes can be really hard, and our district has a history of being reactive and doing things that have not always been favorable, I think these are really exciting opportunities where every single building will be touched in a positive way to provide more for our kids, to not get rid of any of our staff, and to provide more for our community. So I'm really excited at the opportunity to see what this innovation brings. Thank you.
thank you.